Welcome you all for the fifth session on random forest classification, bagging, boosting, and stacking technique. Our resource person for the session is a renowned academician, a passionate researcher, Dr. D. Lakshmi. Dr. Lakshmi is the Educational Research Officer and Professor from B.V. Raju Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. She has completed a doctorate from Anna University, starting her career as a software instructor in the Computer Academy through various challenging and rewarding technical teaching assignments. Today, she stands as an educational research officer. She has over 20 years of experience in the educational sector. Her research areas include educational technology, educational data mining, virtual education, and educational psychology. She has also filed and professionally published 5 patents so far. Her research paper presentation named Use of ICT in Teaching Theory of Computation, an experimental case study at the IEEE Conference on Mock Technologies, had won the Best Paper Award in the year 2013. Her specialization and core expertise lies in theory of computation. She is the first Indian women author in theory of computation. She has built a software model named Know Your Calibri based on biopsychological potential. It's really a great honor to have such a remarkable person with us today. Welcome, ma'am. I would like to request Dr. D. Lakshmi to take over the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, all of you. Yeah. Shall I stop the screen, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes.
Please share, ma'am. Yes, it's visible.
Sure. Random forest is visible, ma'am? Random forest.
Yes, the random forest model.
Yeah. Thank you. One minute, ma'am. A few things I'm minimizing. The panel will become more in GoToMeeting, so I'm minimizing it. Yeah, fine. Yes, I'm succeeded finally. Good morning, all of you. Today we are going to look at a classification model. It's a random forest model. Meanwhile, I would like to give few introduction or whatever the necessary stuff required for picking up the random forest model. In the previous session, I hope so they would have discussed about supervised learning. Supervised learning is a concept comes with labeled data. So the meaning called labeled data. What is all about the labeled data or supervised learning is, if you look at our real-time life, mother and child or teacher and student, they will be giving a training on certain object, that is labeled data. Every kid tend to learn from the labels of objects. So then finally later on they will explore, and they will later part they will able to, if even the features, attributes, some amount of changes they could see on objects, they could able to recognize. So that is what recognition or testing. So this is how the training model works. The moment labeled data is given during the training data, it termed as supervised learning. Within supervised learning, we have predictive models. The moment we say predictive model, there are two types of prediction: numerical prediction, another one is categorical prediction. The moment we say numerical prediction, it comes under regression. The term itself called regression. The moment we say categorical prediction, it comes under classification. So it's called classification, or that means 0 or 1, yes or no, pass or fail, or whatever, disease present or not, disease prediction, or probable type of diabetics, anything it could be categorical. So these are all the steps we may need to recap in order to connect with random forest model. Coming to this predictive model, across the industry, as per Gartner report, you can read Gartner reports. This will be telling the industry need and requirement, future prediction, every one of us, even the curriculum setting should in align with the industry need in order to learn about industry requirements for the next 5 to 10 years. They will predict. So they will be predicting and writing a report how the industry would become, who is on the top leading position. So many aspects they will be discussing. You just Google it and you will come to know a lot of stuff about Gartner report than what I am articulating. When it comes linear or regression, in general regression model in the business domain, it is useful for 32%. 20 to 30%. It doesn't mean that it is not recovered. The suitability of industry requirement is 20 to 30%. When it comes here, this would become 70 to 80%, the requirement of classification, depending upon the domain or depending upon the utilization. This is the algorithm. Most of the time it is used. So the classification is a model widely used when it comes to business domain, when it comes to Amazon or social media analytics, or when it comes to the kind of e-commerce businesses. Most of these domains starts utilizing classification model. Now coming to the point, random forest is one of the classification model. This is the first point I would like to introduce. Random forest becomes the best classification model among more or all other model. Why? Because there is a reason also available. This is one of the, I can't say this is the best. This is one of the best classification model. There are several classification models available. There are several regression models available. When it comes to regression model, the most popular regression model is linear regression. Decision tree regressor or random forest regressor also available. KNN also can be used. SVM also can be used. So there are several algorithms available for predictive model when it becomes numerical prediction. For the numerical prediction itself, we can use several models. When it becomes classification model, again, there are plenty of models available. Support vector machine, KNN, decision tree, logistic regression, and coming to here and Naive Bayes classification model. Right now what we are discussing is random forest. This is also useful for classification as well as it is useful for regression. I have mentioned here itself, random forest regressor. How it works, same algorithm works both for random forest classification, random forest regressor also will be addressed. So why I am telling this is one of the best fit model or best model, one of the best model, the suggestion is given. The reason behind is it's called ensemble model. Ensemble model is a reason. What is ensemble model? Let us look into bit later. Before that, the moment I say these are all the models available, Naive Bayes, Bayesian Naive Bayes, Gaussian Naive Bayes, there are again variants of Naive Bayes are available. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, your voice is clear.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, when it comes categorical, we have plenty of algorithm. Why we say ensemble model? Before that, let us consider the moment we look at any kind of algorithm, name it regression type or name it classification type, the prediction parameter only changes. Prediction parameter or predictive values, labels, y variable is the only change when it comes to regression and the classification. This is the only change. Y variable is the only change. There is no other change between both of the model. Y variable or target variable. So there are several terminologies will be revolving around when it comes machine learning. All are interrelated when it becomes these two words. Then another popular word people used to say dependent variable. So these are all the only change. The type of this variable only the difference between regression and classification. When it becomes categorical, the values associated, the values are categorical. What is categorical? 0, 1, comma 2. This also can be said as categorical. Yes or no is also categorical. When it becomes another word, for example, pass or fail, anything which we want to classify, predict in terms of labels, this becomes classification. The moment we consider any algorithm in the machine learning field, we need to bring it into parametric algorithm, parametric model. What is parametric? I will shortly explain. Parametric and non-parametric. Again, three categories. It fall into either one, parametric model or non-parametric model or ensemble model. What are all these three? Let us now shortly have a revisit. Parametric model, during the training phase, learning parameters are generated or learned, gained. Using this parameter only, testing phase will happen. Testing is possible through this parameter. It will be generated. Learning parameter will be generated. That parameter is used during the testing phase for the prediction. That is termed as parametric learning. When it becomes non-parametric learning, there is no learning parameter. The model or the math behind both the training phase or all the activities related to exploratory data analysis, cleaning, or whatever is applicable, that is common for both the training phase and testing phase. There is no guidance provided. Almost what is called this learning parameter, no, we used to say we need to listen to experienced people, because they used to say what not to be done, what to be done. They will be guiding us. How the elderly people guiding us or expertise guiding us, they would have gone through all the peak and valley moments during their career path or during their life experiences. So that would become concise learning among themselves. So that is a learning parameter. Through that, they used to guide us, the youngsters or novice learner or anyone, they'll be guiding us. Similarly, here the training phase will come out with certain parameters or weights. We can say otherwise also weights. When it comes machine learning, deep learning, most of the time they will be revolving with the word weights. So this weights is a guidance for testing the data. Our testing is otherwise called unseen data. It is helpful. When it becomes non-parametric model, math training or whatever the exploratory data analysis or pre-processing what we do, it will become common for both, but there is no guidance is taken from the training phase as like parametric learning. Exactly, this learning parameter is a control for testing phase. Here there is no like that. However, training phase, certain parameters will be helpful for the testing phase, not like fully the parametric phase. When it comes ensemble method, combination of weak learners is used. Combinations of weak learner, or we can say multiple models, combination of multiple models. These are all the concept we may need to have a rough idea. Name it any algorithm. The moment we step into linear regression, we need to able to understand what type of model it is first. But depending upon that, lot of things can be done. Depending upon that, a lot of exploration, data exploration or pre-processing can be done. So that if time permits, we will touch upon exploration or data cleaning, those particular aspects also. Linear regression, this is parametric algorithm. Linear regression is one of the best example for parametric algorithm. When it comes here, the next one, logistic regression within the classification category, this is also one of the parametric algorithm. When it becomes non-parametric, we can take decision tree, we can take KNN. KNN is one of the best example for non-parametric algorithm. So this we may need to understand little more deeper why it is said as parametric, why it is said as non-parametric. When it becomes ensemble method, random forest is the best example. There are few more also we'll be touching upon. Random forest algorithm. Simply, let me write random forest. Whether it is regressor or classification, it doesn't matter. This is one of the ensemble algorithm. There are few more: bagging, boosting, and stacking. So depending upon the time requirement and availability, we will touch upon these all. What is random forest is definite, and bagging, boosting, and stacking. In addition to that, EDA, exploratory data analysis, or data cleaning, or data pre-processing. Or we can say data transformation, data wrangling. There are several words available. All together, this is the major step for any person to touch upon the field of machine learning and deep learning. Why it is important is 70% of the time we need to spend on it. Only then we can succeed with the predictions or accuracy or F1 score, or there are several other concepts comes into the picture. So this is the very vital part of any model we build or any data. The moment we get it in our hand, we may need to do these or all the task. 30% only model building. For the model building also, we have lot of ready-made packages. Name it any language, name it Java, name it Python or R or MATLAB, any language, suitable language for the machine learning we choose, we can. Julia, future is going to become Julia. I will touch upon that little bit later. 30% model building only we need to concentrate. So 70% it is related to EDA, pre-processing, data transmission. There are so much other many aspects we need to consider 70% of the time. Even recently, last Saturday and Sunday, I was into 24 hours hackathon by Analytics Vidya. Within that, model is not at all working. The data need to be cleaned, pre-processed, data transmission. I started with 28th rank when I started submitting my first submission. Then slowly I reached 65th rank. So this competition is purely based on F1 score. They wanted to increase the F1 score of the classification model. What is F1 score? We will shortly discuss. So these are all the way we need to proceed. When it becomes EDA, it is partially artistic way, partially scientific way. What is scientific is, it is permanent, it is fixed. So there is no big, great expertise is required for the person who are all involved in that exploration. For example, if you look at model building, it is purely scientific in nature. If I explain also, if any one of you start explaining the model also, we all will end up with the same face, the same way of explanation, the same way of using. That is called scientific. When it becomes EDA, lot of domain expertise. I'll touch upon how to do this also shortly. So this, when it becomes this EDA, we may need to have both artistic nature and scientific nature. What is artistic nature? It's a kind of expertise. We may not however, we can give some amount of guidance. 60% of guidance can be given. Rest of the 40% of the artistic nature comes over the period of experience, over the period of analyzing several data set, taking part in different experiments, or doing business real-time case studies, or participating in the hackathon. There are several avenues, or we can take a Kaggle notebook or GitHub notebook, or we can look at several research papers. Through that, we can learn over the period. This portion cannot be taught by anyone. Now, 30% of the model building, but most of the time, people start spending in understanding model building. However, I will also do the same, because the topic of our discussion for today is random forest model. So why this random forest model, how it works, only we are going to discuss. So, but Directly we are stepping into this 30% of the model building. However, I'm giving one terminology alert. This is the first phase, highly required for anyone to succeed with the requirement of the experiment or requirement of the hackathon or whatever, a requirement of the business use case. This is a very vital step the moment we take the data. When it becomes this EDA, I will touch upon the time permits. Otherwise, I'll give you a glimpse. The primary intelligence record is domain knowledge. A very periphery level, I'm going to touch upon, not to the depth level. So because that if I start concentrating, it would take minimum 1.5 an hour to 2 hours. Domain knowledge is important. What is the domain knowledge is from where the data has been collected, what is the background of the data, what is the problem statement, what we supposed to analyze, why we are analyzing, what would be the business consequences towards our prediction, kind of what is a background analysis, background problem statement. What is a problem statement? When it becomes machine learning, not like a problem statement we are solving, we need to give for interpretation for the business. This is called business intelligence. Finally, we need to give the inferences, intelligence we need to give. It could be research intelligence or business intelligence, whatever. Finally, we need to take a decision. So it is a prediction model. We need to able to predict what would happen in the future prediction, or we should be in the position to tell what next action. So this we need to recommend. That is ultimate aim or ultimate role of the data scientist or expertise. We can name it or data enthusiast, anything, data science enthusiast, anything. Background or problem statement. Subsequent to that, we may need to able to understand all the given features. How many features are given? Given features, we need to able to understand what is a data type, what is a relationship, univariate relationship, bivariate relationship, interrelationship, that kind of relationship. This given the feature, we need to explore the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable. One method of exploring this relationship. There is another relationship we need to explore. The another one is between independent variable and independent variable. We need to go for these two kind of relationship analysis. These, yes, ma'am. Anything to be communicated? Yeah. I'm not able to get.
Ma'am, please proceed, ma'am. Ma'am, your voice
Hello.
is not audible. Yes, ma'am, you
No?
can proceed.
Yeah. Yeah, these are all the two relationship analysis we may need to understand. This relationship analysis will provide the guidance for considering the parameters or the features for the model building. This will give complete guidance for us. So through practical illustration, we can able to understand, not like theoretically we cannot able to simulate. So this is the role or why we need to go for exploratory data analysis. Under exploratory data analysis, descriptive data analysis is one of the method. Then visual analytics. Yesterday you would have touched upon visual analytics point of view. What are all the way exploration can be done? Relationship analysis can be done. So these are all the two analysis we may need to do, or many more also. Vital or primary analysis for the feature relationship analysis. After this feature analysis, we may need to go for transformation or feature selection or identifying features. Anything we can start data transformation or feature selection. What is this feature selection? Let us understand. Given the data set, we need to consider how many features, that is column. The moment we say feature, it is related to column. Given the data set, it may be having 5 columns, it may be having 500 columns also. Then what else is observations or records or rows? When it becomes observation, if it is too less or if it is too high, if it has missing values, if it has duplication entries, all those becomes matter. How many observations we need to consider? Too much of data will lead to overfitting. This is another challenge. We'll be discussing about overfitting also. So the main role of random forest is to go for avoiding overfitting. This is one of the model. By nature, it avoids overfitting. So that is why we are telling best fit model. That is a one answer why random forest is best fitting, and it will perform. It is average of several weak learner, so that it produces the best result compared to other models. For most of the data, not for all the data, for most of the data, it produces the best result compared to all other model. When it becomes number of columns, if the number of features are lesser, then it leads to underfit. If the number of features are more, then that depending upon the feature, it will lead, let me put it in this way, underfit and overfit. Depending upon the feature, we will, or the model will end up with underfit either or overfit. What is this? Immediate discussion is upon that underfitting, overfitting only. Nothing to worry right this moment. In order to avoid this underfit, overfit, random forest, we are choosing by nature. So what we can do? Optimum number of feature selection is the solution. Imagine the given data set has only 5 feature. The given data set has 500 features. What we need to do? For this, optimum or optimal number of features we need to select. That is the ultimate aim. How do we select again? There are again several techniques for feature selection or feature reduction. There are 2 techniques we can use. One is feature selection or feature engineering. It has slightly different meaning. Or dimensionality reduction. If it is too much, dimensionality reduction. These are all the way we can work on in order to, with when it becomes related to columns or features. The moment we say columns or parameters, or it is attribute or features, all are interchangeable words. Finally, it is going to become structured data. We are talking about structured data. When it becomes machine learning, unstructured data, it goes more to the deep learning. So when it becomes unstructured data, we have k-means clustering, recommendation system, few or example for unstructured data analysis. Columns, with respect to columns, either we may have lesser columns or more columns. Depending upon this also, we need to decide which model to be built. Depending upon number of columns and observations, we need to take decision which model is a suitable model. That is how different models are coming to the picture. Model is chosen based on rows or columns or distribution, data distribution. These are all the way why we are studying these many algorithms. If we have very deeper insight on every model, how it works and the interrelationship between rows, columns and distribution, we can work upon that particular, means we can choose model intuitively. Otherwise, trial and run. Trial and run. We need to go for trial and run only. We need to go one by one, every model building, which model works best, that model interpretation we need to move on. So these are all the preliminary steps we need to consider. Let us slowly move on to the random forest model. This is one of the bagging method. Random forest itself is one of the bagging method. In short, it is called as random forest. This is one of the bagging method. There is separate bagging method also available. What is bagging is bootstrap aggregation. It combines 2 different words, bootstrap and aggregation. What is bootstrap? Shortly we are going to discuss. Bootstrap is related to data sampling method. What is data sampling method? I have 1000 data points or 1000 observation, 1000 records available in my given data set. How I will be selecting the records, selection of records. Selecting records, we can call it as bootstrap aggregation. This much is sufficient when we start this algorithm. How we are going to select? That is the first idea. Then why we are going for random forest and what is the relationship between decision tree and random forest is the next point of discussion. Decision tree is a baseline model for random forest. The moment we say forest, it's a collection of trees only. In our colloquial life or general life or natural life itself, when we say forest is when collection of trees are more, we used to say forest. So that it is understood decision trees are the building block or baseline for the random forest. That is a clue. Then why we are appreciating random forest than decision tree? Whenever we are comparing all the machine learning model, it is better to compare the closely associated model than all other model, very first level. Now these are all the two models I'm going to do compare and contrast study, because decision tree is the baseline model for random forest itself. So we may need to touch upon this decision tree, why we are doing, why we are going or moving towards random forest. When it becomes decision tree, it is very sensitive to data. This is the very important point we need to note down. What is the sensitivity to data is the moment we try changing the rows or columns during the training phase, it will create lot of significant difference in the tree structure as well as testing phase. Sensitivity to the data with respect to this one parameter itself, we can sit and do exploration, or we can do literature review or analysis. Whatever the model I listed out, we may need to understand sensitivity to the change in data. Here we discussed 4 model. Here we discussed some number of models, here 4, here 5. So I'm just giving very few models only. Even then, it is important for us to understand which model will be sensitive to the data changes, which models are not sensitive to the data changes. So it says directly decision trees are sensitive to the data changes. Why? Because this data or the tree itself built based on 2 mathematical matrices. What are the 2 mathematical matrices are? Either it can use Gini index or Gini index, or it can use entropy, or another word for entropy is information gain. So this or impurity or gain, these are all the 2 mathematical models are involved with decision tree. Then when it becomes these 2, every date somebody need to unmute. Yeah. Every time the value is calculated depending upon, or this is involved with most of the time. Oh my God, probability. This is involved with probability. So the probability of occurrence. What is the probability of occurrence? If I start calculating probability in the among this participant, how many of you are female, how many are male, how many of you are doctorate, how many of you are not having doctorate at present, how many of you are from state Tamil Nadu, how many of you are from state Hyderabad, Telangana, how many of you from state Punjab, Madhya Pradesh. If I start calculating, that is called probability. The moment 10 of you facing the power problem, power failure, the moment I start calculating the probability, it changes a lot. It gives a vast difference. All of a sudden 20 members are entering into the session, then the probability will vary. So this is the indication I'm trying to tell why this is sensitive to the data. If I start calculating the distribution of all the participant at present, this moment, then the distribution would be different when I end the session by 1 o'clock. By the time slowly dropouts would be more, or due to internet problem or due to lunch or whatever. So that sensitivity to the data, the probability is sensitive to the data. That is why decision tree is sensitive to the data. Why? Because first we need to understand decision tree works on the mathematical matrices or mathematical calculation, Gini index or entropy. So these two are highly dependent on the probability. The moment we dependent on the probability, it will be sensitive to the data. This is the first step. When it becomes random forest, it will not become, takes advantage of this, allowing each individual tree. What is finally forest? It will have collection of trees. The meaning called bagging, now we are coming. We started with the bootstrap. It is for selecting record. Bootstrap is meant for data sampling method or data selection records. Bagging is aggregation. I'm telling forest, the moment it is forest, collection of trees will play a role. Each tree would be predicting or involved in the classification process or prediction process. Each tree will end up with some results. Definitely, the results are going to be aggregated through the random forest. The role of random forest, finally, it will do aggregation. There are a lot of visuals I have brought, nothing to worry right now. So it will collect, it will harvest results produced by every random for every decision tree. Either it will go for voting or it will go for average or mean average. What is voting? Voting is meant for classification. Average is meant for numerical prediction. This is meant for categorical prediction. Averaging is meant for numerical prediction. We ourselves can understand what is a meaning of numerical prediction, average prediction. Let me give one example. For the voting, I'm just asking all of you, is this workshop, do you feel it is useful for your research or your career? I'm just asking this question. I'm giving the label. You should say either yes or no. There are around 150 participants when I entered. So all the 150 participants, if they start giving each and every participant, I'm collecting the voting or polling. Out of 150 participants, 100 participants are telling yes, it is useful. The remaining 50 participants are telling no, it is not useful. Now, what is voting? Majority vote is 100. I may not able to, or the organizer may not able to satisfy, quench all of your requirements because it is varied category. Yeah, fresher to the machine learning is also participating, and those who are all expertise also participating in it. So I no need to consider this 50 no. This is called voting method. Yes or no, I'm asking. Then yeah, treating that every one of you is a tree, decision tree. I am acting like a random forest. I'm collecting the responses from all the participants. Out of 150 to 100 members of you telling that this workshop is really useful. Out of 150, 50 members of you telling that this workshop is not at all useful for my career. Then I need to go for majority voting. This is how random forest works. When it comes average, when I need to do average, this average is for numerical prediction. When I can do this average, instead of yes or no, I'm asking you to give the mark between 0 mark to 100 mark, like how we are evaluating our students. Like that, I am asking you to give a mark for this workshop. Then one of you may give 0 also, one of you may give 100 also, one of you may give 99, another one of you give a mark for this workshop 98, yet another may give 12, something like that. I'm collecting all of your rating or mark for this particular workshop from 150 participant. How can I come to the conclusion? I'm asked, there are 150 participants are taking part in this workshop. The marks are asked you to give between 0 to 100 marks for this workshop. Then every one of you tend to give like this. How can I conclude? I need to go for averaging only. With that average only, I can conclude if it is 50% and above. If the workshop scores, that itself success, I can say. So 50% and above the marks are distributed by 150 participant. This is called successful workshop. This is the way random forest also works. Voting is related to yes or no. Averaging is related to numerical prediction. This is related to classification or categorical prediction. How it works is a topic of discussion I am discussing. This is called bagging. The process what I am discussed right now, this voting, collection of tree or aggregation. So whatever the steps I have explained, this is called bagging technique. That's all. Hope so you would have understood what is bagging. Within that, we may need to go for bootstrap. We understood aggregation. We understood the word aggregation, not bagging. Still, we need to understand the word what is bootstrapping. Let us see slowly. Bootstrapping, it would take much more time to get into that topic. Now, this is how random forest works. Now, why I said this is one of the best model, let us understand through this. I'm asking 3 participants to come to this game. That 3 participant, what are all the chances I'm giving is, or 1 participant, I'm giving 3 chance. You need to pick up. You can play 100 times, you can toss the coin, or you can play badminton, anything. I will bet you with $1 each time. If you win the game, I will give you the prize $1 in every game. Game 2, I'm allowing you to play only 10 times. I'm betting that I will pay you $10 if you win the game. Then I'm allowing you to play only 1 time. I'm betting you to pay. I'm going to pay for you $100. Which one we will choose is the point of discussion here. If we consider same outcome, I'm telling that percentage scenario, fixed percentage, 60% only you will succeed. Let us consider 60%. Mathematically, we can take conclusion for this problem statement. That is what I'm trying to address here. So you no need to take decision based on your gut feeling or your intuition. We can take mathematically which model is best. That is where the probability helps us. 60% of winning only I'm going to put for you. Any one of you are ready for this game, 60%. If you choose game 1 also, 60% winning I am going to decide. Game 2 also 60% winning. Game 3 also 60% winning. Any game you choose, I am assuring that 60% you will win. In that, if you start calculating based on the probability, 40% is failure, then what you can do? 1 into 0.6 plus 0 into 0.4. This is how you can calculate the probability value. Then if we start converting, then this distribution, expected distribution, would become same for all, because I'm giving 60% chance. Then it will become same for all. But what the Monte Carlo simulation says is, more the trials or more the runs, better the outcomes. So this detailed study, if you wish, based on this is an analogy I'm trying to tell how or why RF model is great. For this, you can refer this article or references, understanding in detail about this analogy, because we don't want to spend more time in this analogy. Through this final conclusion, what I'm trying to tell is, more number of runs or chances are given, the winning percentage would become more. So that if I give a chance for a player to choose any one of the model, player should choose based on the probability theory or statistical model or mathematical model in general. This is the way mathematics recommends. Playing 100 times, will betting $1 each time would become the great success. Now let us move on to next step. That is the reason we are choosing this collection of weak learners are working together to become strong. Find this random forest. Several weak learners work together for the stronger prediction. Similarly here, weak money, after all, you are going to earn $1 only, but you will get a stronger awards when you choose game one model. Here, do or die case. There is no guarantee that you will win. Then the tie between only these two. Compared to this model, this method of game, people can win or player can win. So this is a philosophy behind of random forest. What is ensemble? We started with the collection of models. Random forest itself becomes example for ensemble. Why? It is working on collection of decision trees. This is the word we started. Decision trees are the collection or base model. Collection of decision trees are the basic building block for the random forest. So that is why it is ensemble. Finally, it does the role called either voting or aggregation or averaging. So this is how this works. That is why it is termed as ensemble model. When it becomes another other ensemble models, bagging technique, boosting technique, stacking technique, let us see one by one if time permits soon after the random forest. The moment the theory is understood behind of all these models, the notebook discussion would take a maximum of half an hour only. So this is understanding the background of the model is a time consuming process. When it comes to coding, all the ready-made packages we are using, so that it would take only half an hour for understanding bagging, boosting, stacking, and random forest. Let us move on to the visual treat. This one, again, animation, how the random forest works. So we all of us knows the tree. In the data structure, we all would have studied tree. That tree is a basic functioning structure underneath random forest. That's all. So that visualization would help. Organizer, I request you to mute all. Lot of noise disturbance comes because I'm using headphone that creates a lot of headache for me. Please mute. Go to
Yes,
meeting
yes,
has
ma'am.
that option. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do that. We'll do that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, why we are choosing random forest is the question. We need to start with how it works. Almost we discussed what are all the way it works. Now we need to move on why we need to choose this. In order to avoid overfitting and underfitting, this model is the best. This is what I said, what is underfitting, overfitting earlier. Now we are going to understand the deeper meaning related to overfit and underfit. After this all, I'll come back to the word called bootstrap. Bootstrap will comes when really I touch upon the random forest. Now, still now, the argument is going on why we need to learn random forest. Now, look at this graph. When it becomes forest, you can understand the tree. I have one visual representation. 1 minute I'll walk through. You can even better understand what is that random forest. Still muting is unmuting is happening. Lot of other noise, cross noise is happening. This is the tree. That's all. See, root. Then when it becomes random forest, lot of things we need to understand when we go deeper into random forest. Yeah, that is called parameters. Understanding the parameters of the random forest. Depth of the tree is one of the parameter. Then number of nodes becomes one of the parameter. How many nodes? Then number of leaf nodes within the decision tree only I'm discussing. What is forest? A collection of this kind of tree becomes forest. That's all. So what are all the things we need to consider for the intelligent uh, way of building the model or hyper parameter tuning? Number of nodes, number of trees, depth of the tree, number of leaf nodes. These all we need to consider all at a time. Based on the number of nodes only, this particular graph is done. But there is an option available in the go to meeting. Mute all other than the presenter or organizer is possible. Kindly explore that. Otherwise, it will be very hectic. So look at this particular scenario, this is related to underfitting and overfitting based on number of nodes. There are several parameters I said we need to consider to avoid this. One is number of nodes, number of trees, because it is related to random forest. So number of trees, depth of the tree, split criterion, how we are going to split, then number of leaves, this all becomes matter. Then number of parameters, that is why we are saying machine learning. These are all the stuff involved in it. So these all we need to take into consideration in order to arrive with the best model. However, but fortunately, several techniques helps us for tuning, fixing the value for these all. Number of node, number of trees, depth of the tree, split criterion, number of leaves, number of parameters or features. For these all, luckily, this random forest itself has the best selection, of these parameters. This itself by nature it is doing. If not, you have two more algorithm called grid search CV. This is a command within Python only I'm telling. Random search CV. So these are all the two techniques. It will come out with the optimal number of solution. We no need to worry. Model itself will work. That is why it is called machine learning, training, decision making on these all happening internally. Now, this is one of the scenario I'm considering based on number of nodes. Number of nodes, yeah, the first point. This is the scenario based on number of nodes only I'm discussing this overfitting and underfitting. Cause for overfitting and underfitting would become that all detail it is there. Number of features, every feature I'm discussing, nothing to worry. Now let us understand the word what is overfitting, what is underfitting. That's all. So this we no need to worry based on what I am doing. We are trying to understand overfit, underfit. That's all. There are several parameters already mentioned here. So we can do in any way. Now look at this blue color, test set, red color, training set. This is a iteration. Every iteration we are trying to do, and we are plotting for the bivariate analysis number of nodes versus error. Every algorithm we can look at either accuracy point of view, or we can look at loss function point of view. This loss function otherwise called error, rate of error we can say, or cost function. These are all interrelated words only, cost function. So we can look at, finally, when we say our model is best is accuracy, both also we need to look at. Sometimes it is required to look at both end or both sides of the model. This is called model validation. Finally, looking into, yes, understood, already I have mentioned a few steps. Then we build the model. After building the model, we need to go for validating these steps, otherwise called model validation. We need to validate the model. Anything we do in our life, we'll be validating. Even when we cook, I'll be validating. So taking a sip of sambar, sip of cooking, whatever I'm doing before serving to the guest, I'll be validating. Similarly, the model which we built, we need to validate. After model building, there are several ways to improvising the model itself. That again, it is little more vaster area. Model improving technique is, one is hyperparameter tuning. This hyperparameter tuning only these all for the random forest. Similarly, for every model, the parameters will vary. Hyperparameter tuning is one of the technique. Then all other methods are based on the type of the model. For this, one more model, random forest, I'll tell. Threshold average. Threshold average. or optimized threshold. We can work on optimized threshold. These are bit advanced for this moment to communicate, because we need to understand what is this model all together. Then we can think of other discussion. That is the reason I'm telling, nothing more. So this, 1 minute. Coming to this, what is overfitting, underfitting? We go for again. This is the model related to accuracy or loss function I started with. This is a relationship between number of nodes and number of or error. When we look at this graph, it tells us much clear. Test error is low, train error is also low. Red is related to train, blue is related to test. Both of the error is, the gap is low, but error is high. Look at the error starts from 0, it goes up to 45%. The number of nodes starts with 0, number of nodes in the random forest goes up to 300 nodes. So this is a relationship analysis between nodes versus error. So for the deeper research or understanding, people used to do. Let us understand underfitting, overfitting from this. If you look at the initial period when the number of nodes are 10, look at this point of view. Starting with 0, we are substituting for the random forest 10 nodes. With the 10 nodes, the error becomes high rate. See, almost 43% for testing data set, 38% for training data set. However, the gap is very lesser. Look at the gap between these two sets, training data set and testing data set, the gap is lesser. Slowly, the training data set keeps on reducing. Look at this, I'm just navigating my mouse point. It is coming to the lowest level. Almost error became less than 10% for the training period. When we look at the testing period, error is reducing steadily. Look at this black color bar. I'm just navigating, see, for the understanding, navigating this black color bar. After this black color bar, it is becoming stable, steady here. This portion becomes steady. When coming to this portion, it is becoming again increasing. Testing phase, error is increasing. This is called overfit. And look at the gap between training phase and testing phase, huge. The gap is huge. That is called overfit. Training and testing, the gap is huge. When it becomes here, the gap is, this is the optimal place, or here we can say, or here we can say somewhere. This is the optimal place. The error between train and test becomes lesser, then the model is said to be the best fit, statistically fit, or good fit. 3 words comes for the same philosophy. This is what I can say, best fit than even this, because the difference between the error produced during the test phase, the error produced during the training phase is lesser. The difference between error produced in the testing phase, error produced in the training phase is more wider here. So this is called overfitting. And if it is tough to understand, I'll put it in this way. For example, we are academicians. We do have mid-exam 1. We do conduct mid-exam 2. During mid-exam 1 and 2, there are 3 favorite students for you. For all the 3 favorite students, you are leaking the question paper. When you leak the question paper, what would happen is, all those 3 students, chances are there for getting 90, 95, even 100. When this is called training phase. Training means within in our college, we will be making them to get this mark. When it becomes main examination, let us understand in this way. Main examination, question paper setter is absolutely away from the institution. We don't know what will happen, who will set the question paper. If these guys are not studying the complete syllabus or curriculum or the course, simply they are concentrating that question paper given by the teacher, what would happen? There are a lot of chances for getting failure also, 0 also, chances are there for getting good mark also. But mostly the probability will become lesser. This is called testing phase. So while testing, the error is becoming larger. Similarly, when the examination point of view, during our internal exam, if the student is getting 95, this is internal exam, that is training phase. Let us say, for example, internal exam, the guy is getting 95 marks. During the main exam, that guy is trying to get, let us imagine, this are all happens with all the university. It happens. The same guy is getting during the testing phase or external examination, 45 marks are fail also. Teacher used to fight with the university. That guy is extraordinary student. Why this happens? In all the examination 95 in the class, he is also or she is also active student. Why the person is failed? Then teacher or the institution itself will go for the fight, because it has inconsistency. Lot of inconsistency is available. So inconsistency becomes, then naturally it is misleading that profile of the person. This is called overfitting when it becomes machine learning point of view. That's all. Training time, the score was good. During testing time, the accuracy or loss, anything you can consider. Loss means it will become vice versa. Accuracy is need to be careful what you are doing. So there is lot of difference, huge difference between training phase and testing phase. That is termed as overfitting. Let us see another scenario, underfitting. That normally we no need to worry about underfitting at all, but because of the terminology only I'm trying to tell. During the testing phase, 45 error, and during the training phase, 45 or 55 or anything, both accuracy, let us say, or error we can say. Look at this very worst performance. Training is also useless, testing is also useless. This is called overfitting scenario. Another way also we can define this terminology. Training time 56 percentage accuracy or error or whatever. Testing time it is increased, 85% testing is working well. Then this scenario is also overfitting. This is called, sorry, this is underfitting. Sorry, I have written different word. Excuse me, underfitting. Both of the scenario are example for underfitting. Huge difference comes also, it is called underfitting. The performance of the model is worst both training period and testing period also underfitting. This is test and this is train. See, both the time this is very worst. So we cannot appreciate. During training it was poor performing, and during testing it is performing bit better. Never it is possible to perform more greatly or like a drastic grade. We can even give 65, not more than that. Here we can give 40 or 45, relatively anything. So these two scenarios are example for underfitting or whatever. Whatever this it is, there is no interesting point. There is no point of discussing underfitting because it is not at all required. Either way, it is not working well. What is best fit or exact fit? Best fit or exact fit? Exact fit we don't use. Statistical fit or good fit. These are all the two words, three words interchangeably. When we can say is both training time and testing time, the accuracy should be, let us consider these all I'm discussing with the point of view accuracy. Loss means it should become minimal value, 10%, 5%, not this much huge value. I should not talk about it. So all let us consider accuracy. Best fit or statistical fit or good fit. When I can say is, let us consider accuracy of the model during training is 80, accuracy of the model during testing is 85. This is example for good fit. Then accuracy of the model during training is 90, accuracy of the model during testing is 95 or 90 or a little bit lesser. Let us consider 85. There is no wrong in it. So these two steps are example for best fit. That's all. We all are working for this model only. During that hackathon last Saturday, Sunday, I gave up. Why I gave up is I produced the F1 score. F1 score is a valid metrics than accuracy when it comes classification. F1 score I got 54%. Then after that, I tried several techniques. It became 87% or 89%. But with the data which they were analyzing, this is my obtained answer during training time. When I build the model, it has come like this. During their, when I substituted this results and solution for them, it has come 53% F1 accuracy. That is the reason I couldn't succeed in the leaderboard, 53%. Why this 53% has come? See, look at, I got on my notebook, on my laptop, 89%. The same model I submitted, they were checking with the 13,456 records, something. So the accuracy became accuracy or F1 score. F1 score is related to accuracy only. So 53% only it has come. Mine is overfit, happened. I cannot go and fight with them. I got 89. Why your data set is giving 53? Not at all. My model became overfit. Even they given answer, comment also for my model submission. It became overfit. With the statement or explanation only, we need to submit. I submitted that I have obtained 89% of F1 score. That is what. But their platform, analytics with their platform given 53%. Why that is happening is because of overfit, my model. Then what I supposed to do? I need to work on reducing the overfit. Then I gave up. That's all. I was active out of 24 hours sleeping. Other than that, I was active around 5 to 6 hours. 6 hours I was working. I succeeded with 54. When I got 54, their platform also given 54. Both the consistency was there. Mine is also 54%. Analytics with their platform also given 54. When I got 89%, their platform gave 53 as an answer. This is called overfit. Then I need to work for overfit. Then I gave up. I didn't participate. My leaderboard was going back. Then I stopped. The winner, I have that notebook, winner's notebook. That winner is Dharmendra. He got about something 66.85% of F1 accuracy. So this is a person winner. 0.11% it will show different leaderboard. Near about my submission, the highest 54 only they have considered. Then near about 54, several person with 1%, 0.1% and a lot of people available. So this is the ultimate winner of that particular hackathon. I will work on whenever I feel so free, I will work on. This is called overfit. Hope so you would be understanding what had happened in my hackathon story. What is called overfit? During my model building, it was giving 89. They have given unseen data they have submitted. They have submitted around 13,000 something records for their analytic with their platform. My model produced only 53% only result during test phase. So that I was pushed to the 65th rank. Still now it is there, 65th rank. So I'm not the winner. So this is how this model works. Hope so you would be understanding why this or all we are discussing. These are all discussion is random forest is one of the model for alleviating overfitting. I built this model using KNN. I would have tried with random forest also as well. I didn't try. I gave up. I tried. I spent 4 to 5 hours on KNN for obtaining this accuracy. I did many more. That what is called, the given data for me is called imbalanced data set. But that winner, even they had given the platform themselves given the notebook for that. The platform, what they have obtained is 66.7. Finally, sorry, this is 68.8. This is what the winner finally. That person who won the hackathon. So imbalanced data set they gave. So in order to reduce this imbalanced data set, I did upscaling, upsampling. I did. Here, what is imbalanced data set? We will be discussing shortly. That is also one of the technique we need to learn for the classification techniques. So this imbalanced data set, I started doing upsampling. First normal model I built KNN, little bit exploratory data analysis, little bit data transformation, little bit feature engineering. These are all those things, little bit feature selection. These all I did. After that, directly building the model KNN. After building the model, it was given 54%. In order to improve, I went with imbalanced data set with upsampling. Then it gone to 89%. It became overfit. Then when I substituted to their platform, it gave 83. This is how I approached. But if I would have approached random forest, there is a chance, but I'm not sure. So let us understand why underfitting happens. The reasons are lesser number of features or complex model leads to underfit. Overfit, when it will happen? Reason is more number of features, more and more we will give the columns for the model building, then that leads to overfitting. And number of nodes or more, model is simple, noisy data. These are all the reasons for overfit. Not only random forest, whatever so far I am talking, it is applicable for most of the models. Next, or it is applicable exactly for random forest. Both train and test phase produces lesser accuracy. It is for underfit. We are not at all bothered. We are not at all worried about this. We should not bother about underfit. Underfit means what? We will also, this is underfit. See, look at this. When I got 54, there also 54 only. Because of match, I should not tell that it is best fit. It is lesser accuracy only produced. For them also lesser accuracy. Look at the winner, 68% accuracy. F1 score that guy has produced, Dharmendra. So he is into best fit. I am into underfit. Although both are same, we should not say this is best fit because it is poor. There are lot of other member bringing with more accuracy. Then I need to say it as underfit. Then finally, in that hackathon, I ended up with either underfit or overfit. This is how the problem suffered or faced. So now, number of features. With respect to number of features, we will face difficulties. If the number of features are more, increasing the number of features, more training data are needed for the classifier or regressor for anything. Correctly figure out the important contribution weight of each feature. This is important. Next, insufficient data may prefer a feature which actually contribute little so that overfit increases. This is the key point or we may need to understand. When overfit will come is insufficient data. It will start memorizing. The data is lesser, then model will start memorizing. Memorization happens, overfitting happens. What is memorization? This is the example. Teacher leaks a question paper, student starts understanding or studying that question paper alone, memorizes the answer. That guy doesn't even know what is in and out of the subject, so that highest accuracy have come. This is called memorization. Main examination bets them to think logically. Lot of expertise is required for scoring better mark, so that they are failed. So this is called memorization. Insufficient data. This data means rows. With respect to rows, insufficient data are there, then overfit will become. Feature selection, number of feature selection itself we need to work on. There is no thumb rule. Nobody can explain and what to do. Feature selection techniques we need to apply. That what is the advantage of random forest is it is one of the feature selection method by itself. That is the reason it avoids overfit and underfit. How it avoids is it works on combinations, permutations and combinations. Where it works on permutations and combinations are selections. Both column and rows are selected with permutations and combinations. That is why it is called random forest. Random is a word. Both are selected randomly, rows and columns. I have that word definition exactly why it became random forest. Now itself we are start understanding through number of features. So through this feature selection is happening naturally with the random forest. That is the reason this is best method for feature selection. We can treat this model as a feature selection model, or we can treat this model as a regression model, or we can treat this model as a what else uh, feature selection, regression, classification model. Advantages of random forest, let us write down. It is useful for regression, it is useful for classification, it is useful for feature selection, it is useful for one of the other method is missing value imputation. What is imputation? Is filling, that's all. Somewhere in the data they randomly either columnar or in the row manner data are missing. Then what we can do, we can fill with random forest. These are all the applications of random forest. We will look at one by one how it selects feature selection. Next, type of the model. Overfit is more likely with a non-parametric and a non-linear model. These are all the takeaways. Please note down. This is the takeaway. Again, I need to understand what is non-parametric. Already I given the example what is non-parametric. Random forest is one of the model example for non-parametric. Non-linear models. What is linear model? Whenever correlation exists, it's called linear model. Correlation. What is correlation? Hope so you all would be knowing. This is the foundation. Correlation, if it is negative, high correlation -1, no correlation 0, and the correlation is 1. Correlation is the basis for simple linear regression and multiple linear regression as well. So when the non-linear model, the model is not a linear model, it is a non-linear model or not a linear model, then overfitting more likely with these all. Then more data leads to overfit and a simpler model. Finally, what are all the way we can avoid when we can say underfitting? High bias and low variance. The word bias is related to training phase. The word variance is related to testing phase. That's all. So numerically, I have illustrated here what is underfit, overfit. Terminology, technical terminology, way of talking overfitting, underfitting is called bias and variance. That's all, nothing more to confuse. Numerically, if you understand, that's more than enough. Techniques to reduce underfitting with respect to random forest, I'm trying to tell. Increase the model complexity. Yes, random forest is increased with the complexity. It's a collection of trees. Increase number of features, performing feature engineering. Random forest itself by nature does this feature selection, removing noise from the data. Noise removal need to be done. What is noise? Shortly I will be discussing. Increasing the number of epochs. Epochs or iteration. This is called run. That's all. When it comes machine learning, deep learning, it is called epochs. Number of times execution, iterations. Increase the duration of training to get best results. This is for avoiding underfitting. Next, how to avoid overfitting is the next type of discussion. Increase the training data set, reduce the model complexity, early stopping during the training phase. Overtraining we should not do. We need to find out the best point to stop the training. That is loss, have an eye over the loss over the training period. As soon as loss begins to increase, stop training. For this, I will make you to understand better. We need to stop training whenever loss begins to increase. Let us go back to the diagram. Loss begins to increase. Why they stopped here? Look at here. Loss is persisting. All of a sudden, it starts increasing. That is the reason they have put this what to say, this red color line, beyond that we should not execute or go for epochs. This is a red color dotted line, we need to exactly stop our execution. Beyond that we should not do. Or else before, just before where I kept this arrow mark, or just before, anywhere you can stop. But beyond that you are not supposed to go. This is called optimal execution. Whenever loss is gradually decreasing and sustaining with low loss, all of a sudden it increases. This is called, this particular line, explanation, that is visual representation for this verbal explanation. Yeah, this is what we need to plot visually. We need to interact with the model. Just by building the model, we cannot able to understand what's happening internally. We need to keep an eye over the loss. Early stopping we need to do. See, this is early stopping. What is happening? Error is gradually decreasing, all of a sudden increasing. This is related to validation set. What is cross validation? That is one of the best method for improving the model accuracy. Cross validation is one of the best method. Here when it comes training data, drastically reducing, but here it is increasing. Testing data, validation, otherwise called testing, you can understand that way also temporarily. So this is the best method. This is where the sudden change happens. That is the reason this is early stopping point. We need to work on this all the time. This is another way practitioners, data scientist practitioners to keep on eye. That's all. Other method is ridge regularization and lasso regularization. Use deep learning. Cross validation is another method for uh, avoiding underfitting. These are all the techniques available. Next, noisy data with a large amount of additional meaningless information is called noisy data. I said now, given the data, we may have 5 columns or features, we may have 500 columns or features. If we try to submit more meaningless or useless features to the model, that leads to lot of data corruption, or that leads to lot of other problems. That is called noisy data. We need to remove that noisy data. This is what called feature engineering. The role of feature selection or feature engineering is removal of this noisy data only. Another noisy data is outliers, extremities. These extremities also called noisy data. What will happen? Let us see. Overfitting due to noise. This is the only one point away from all other points, that is called outlier. What is outlier? One person will be behaving very peculiar among the crowd. That person is outlier. Similarly, these are all the data points having close proximities. If you look at all the red points, it has close proximity. If you look at all the blue points, it has close proximity except this one point. This is noisy data. Because of that, the decision boundaries are given exactly. This is called overfitting. This here overfitting is happening. So this, in order to avoid this overfitting only, we need to reduce or we need to eliminate the noisy in the data. So elimination of the noisy data, several techniques. PCA, principal component analysis. This is one of the dimensionality reduction technique. Linear model. This is one of the dimensionality reduction technique for linear model. Non-linear model, discriminant, linear discriminant analysis, another linear model. There are 2 linear models available. LDA, popular is PCA, and recent means 2005 or 8. The non-linear dimensional reduction model they have brought, that is TSNE. This is non-linear dimensional reduction model. Regularization, collect more data, cut the noise, so that especially non-parametric method, it's super cool and useful if you know what kind of signal you are catching. So that signal means what? If you look at that hackathon data, that is called customer segmentation data. Customer segmentation is when I become a telecaller, to whom I need to call. for the fixed deposit campaign. So that campaign, I need to target particularly the related customers. Otherwise, expenditure, my time is waste, so much other complications. By the time I need to segment. For that, what are all the information or columns I am considering? That is called important. So where it comes, why I need to consider the column, gender, whether that person has good CIBIL score, that the person is educated or highly qualified, having white collar job, the data set, if I walk through, you can able to understand. So that we need to understand each and every more particular, feature. We need to understand about signal, kind of signal, what kind of signal you are catching. So the distribution is also one of the pattern we need to consider. So next is K nearest neighbor. We can use for identifying noisy data. Decision tree like CART and C4-5 support vector machine. These all will help us for elimination of noisy data. Next, we can do cross validation. Through this also we can do early stop. These are all the method. Let us conclude what is bias and what is variance. High error during the training, underfit. This is colloquial explanation. Technical terminology, high bias, high variance, both are high. Next, moderate error, most suitable model. Good model always have low bias, low variance. Exact fit or no exact fit. I should write this best fit. Best fit, no error or overfit. This is sorry, correct only. Exact fit. Exact fit is otherwise overfit. Exactly it will fit during the training time. Exactly how that student memorizes the question paper given by the teacher. That is called exact fit. So this, then numerical example we have seen. So this is always we need to work for overfit and best fit. Never we need to bother about underfit at all, because this is useless, hopeless model. We need to work for either best fit or overfit. That's all. So this is based on number of parameters. I said no, overfit, underfit, there are several reasons. The very first figure is based on number of nodes in the forestry, random forest. This is based on number of parameters or columns or features, underfit and overfit. Then this is the optimal number of parameters. This is also possible. Number of nodes, number of parameters, all are possible to control by random forest by nature itself. Bias and variance, we no need to touch upon. Already it is given. See, look at here. This is the error. All the data point we are fitting after the model generation. This blue points are training data. Green points are testing data. The error will become more or less same. So there is no other issue. See, error will become more or less same. When it becomes overfit, see, exactly fitting here during training time. When it becomes testing time, it will be a problem. So training time, it will have exact fit. When it becomes testing time, it will have lot of error. These green points are related to errors. For all the material, I have given here the references. You can walk through for much more better understanding. See, for it is suitable for all the model. Bias, variance, overfit, underfit. These are all the concept common for both machine learning and deep learning, and it is common for both every model also. Next, these are all the model improving techniques. Quantify random error, why that error has come, what is the cause for that error, what is the mismatch between the distribution of the data and the model of the data. Model, there are two types, linear model and non-linear model. If the model is linear, then the data need to become more or less normally distributed. If the model is non-linear, it can become any distribution. So that relationship. So when it becomes this point, this particular point, we need to understand model type. almost I can say I'm giving basics only, not even entered into random forest to the fullest. Model type, linear model. Like I said, no parametric, non-parametric ensemble. We need to understand for every model whether that model is linear model or non-linear model. This is another important. Then this relationship we need to relate with distribution of the data. These are all the steps, clue I am giving for quantifying the